My M40 daughter, F19, is very physical with me and it makes me uncomfortable. Too long did not read. I feel like my daughter has been overly physical with me considering her age. She is going through a lot and I understand it helps her, but I can't help but feel uncomfortable. She has always been a very physical person. Her childhood has been filled with hugs, cuddles, piggyback rides etc. She especially loved to cuddle, which at the time I thought was really cute. This of course died down as she got into her teens, which I expected. However, recently, it picked back up again considerably. I know how messed up this is to say, but honestly it's getting kind of weird. Her mother and I have recently separated and I know for a fact that plays a part, because this behavior started shortly after she left. Aside from the huge uptake in cuddling, she started sleeping in my bed at night instead of her own room. A lot of times trying to cuddle there as well. When we are in public sitting down in places like the train, bus, movie theater etc. She will lay her head on me or pull my arm over around her. She also started holding my arm as we walked down the street sometimes. The weirdest thing is the uptake of random kisses. She kisses me on the cheek at random times, sometimes in public. I try not to react too much without making her feel underappreciated, but the sheer quantity is concerning. The most awkward time was when she tried to kiss my cheek as I was turning my head. She missed and accidentally pecked me on the lips. She seemed startled at first, but then she laughingly apologized. She seemed to think it was funny and not a big deal, which I find very strange. She then went right back to cuddling me as if nothing happened. It was very weird for me. Now it should go without saying that I am in no way attracted to my daughter. I could never in a million years see her that way. With that being said, I really feel like this behavior has to be a little strange at the very least. I haven't said anything about it to her yet because I understand we have been going through a really rough time as a family. I know the separation has been hard on her, and she has a lot on her plate with school and her work. She seems to be really at peace when we cuddle and I try to focus on that to get over my uncomfortable feelings, but as time goes on it's getting harder and harder to ignore. Is there any way I can voice this without hurting her feelings? Or am I being unreasonable? Is there any way I can somehow get over these uncomfortable feelings? I think if you notice it's more than usual and especially making you uncomfortable, it's valid and important. My sister is very slightly mentally disabled and she sleeps in my mom's bed every now and then. Shush is 30. It's weird but, not like, overtly strange. My stepdaughter was 12 and got more clingy with her dad when her parents split up. It ended up being a phase that she got over. I would put a stop to her sleeping in your bed. She can come in and hang out and talk with you before bed, but when it's time to sleep she has to go sleep in her own bed. You should ask her if she's sleeping in your bed because she's having anxiety or insomnia or something. If she is, find solutions, but I just think at 19 sleeping in a parent's bed crosses a line. Make sure you're verbalizing to her that you love her, she's important to you, and that you're always going to be there for her. She needs to hear it regularly. Therapy. I would say that this is mostly related to the divorce, but you're probably above Reddit's pay grade. I really wish I could have a dad like you. Explain exactly what you said here to her, but make sure she feels love after and throughout. After you say it's likely she will back off, so go out of your way to show you still care in your own comfortable way. Just remember why she's doing it when you're explaining it to her. Probably just start with the most uncomfortable thing first, e.g. IDK sleeping in your bed. If anything, maybe sleep in the same room if that will make her feel better. And continue to slowly ask her not to do other things. You'll be fine though, because she could have handled this way worse. Split. Maybe this is her trying to be supportive because she assumes you are sad about the divorce. Or she might be regressing. Acting more childish because she felt untethered by the divorce. I'd send her to a therapist to help process her parents' divorce. 19 is still a young mind and she's probably thinking that it's normal. I don't think your daughter is just aware. In her mind, she probably think it's innocent. Those years are where she's figuring things out and discovering what's normal and what isn't. Try in the best that you can, in a non-confronting way, to tell her about boundaries. Do it in a loving, I care for you way, not in a lecturing, you don't do this way, as that'll cause less trauma for her in the future. And I hope your daughter will appreciate you for telling her that in that way. Kindly and lovingly set some firm boundaries, otherwise you'll eventually resent her and find excuses to not spend time with her. It'll be awkward at first, no doubt, but it'll be healthy for both of you in the long run. I'm sure she'll appreciate it someday when she looks back and realizes she was making you uncomfortable. The cuddling in bed is odd, but otherwise I wouldn't be overly worried. Honestly, you just separated and she's probably wanting assurance she won't be left behind by you. Her family unit just fell apart, she's going through a lot and she needs to know you're gonna be there for her and she feels safe. Ask her how she is feeling lately. When she says she's fine, ask her that you are a little worried about her feeling lonely. Don't allow her to sleep in your bed anymore if it makes you feel really uncomfortable. I don't think my dad would be uncomfortable if I fell asleep hugging him in his bed, but it would become weird if it was a habit. I think she's struggling a bit. If you are uncomfortable, you should say something. Maybe express what you think is appropriate and what you think is inappropriate. At the same time, I can imagine how this might be a really uncomfortable conversation for the both of you. Heck, you could even ask her why she's so affectionate with you and why the affection started up again. I'm a little like her but with my friends, not my dad. You need to have a sit-down chat about boundaries. Emphasize it's not a bad thing, but between a father and daughter you need more distance and you yourself like your personal space. Encourage her to find like-minded friends. Skinship is a thing in Korea and I myself, in a Western country, have friends like this, and it'll be more appropriate. Best of luck. It would probably be super helpful to find some kind of therapy for her or family therapy for you two and say it's about the separation because it really should be anyway. I'm sorry this sounds like a tough situation. I bet finding a good therapist or counselor could help a lot. This is a tricky situation for sure, but if you feel uncomfortable, then it needs to stop. I would recommend getting out of the situations you feel uncomfortable with, but compensate by spending more time with her. She probably just wants something to be there for her. I think this is probably just a phase and it'll pass. Everything but the sleeping in your bed. That is weird. I'd just say, no. You need to go to your own bed. She sounds very immature for 19 years. Is she an only child? Hey sweetie, I know things have been hard recently with your mom and I splitting up. I'm always going to love you and be here for you. But I think there comes a time where in a dad-daughter relationship, there needs to be a little more personal space in general. Although you're always going to be my baby girl, you're not actually a little girl anymore and we should have some boundaries like most parents do. I need you to respect that, but also, if there's anything you ever want to talk about with me, I'm here. Or if you would rather talk to someone in a more private setting, I'd be happy to line up a therapist for you. I'm 35 and married with 2 kids and still nap on the couch with my head in my dad's lap. I don't think I'd share a bed with him, but I don't necessarily see that as sexual either. However, if you are not comfortable with it, that's something to be discussed. Just be prepared for the likelihood that she feels defensive, embarrassed, and/or hurt. I think you should ask her if she wants to join you for family therapy to talk through both of your feelings about her mom leaving. That way, you can bring it up in a safe space. To be honest with you, it sounds like the split between your wife and you had brought on a bit of regression in your daughter. She's seeking comfort the way she found it as a child. Consider taking her to a therapist. Without placing blame or telling her you feel uncomfortable with her affections, because that's genuinely an issue for you. Explain that you know the split has been emotionally difficult and you just want her to have someone she can talk to without any judgments. More than likely, this is a temporary thing. Please do not start with "it's bothering you." Obviously she's got something going on, as if she regressed to a childlike state. Try talking to her. Say something like, "I am noticing you have been needing a lot of affection lately, just like when you were little. What has happened to make you feel this way? How are you feeling lately? What's on your mind, etc." Finish the conversation. "I am a little worried, let's go to a doctor and get you checked out. Just so I'll know you are okay. This may be happening for a lot of reasons. Abuse, mental illness, personality disorders, trauma, brain tumors, vitamin blah deficiency, I don't know. What I know is if she started presenting behaviors as if she is a younger version of herself out of nowhere, you need to investigate. I hope she is okay." Reading this made my skin crawl. I have a good relationship with my dad, but I can't imagine doing any of that stuff. Some people just have different boundaries when it comes to physical affection. You're not being unreasonable. It's probably going to be an awkward convo no matter what, but if it's making you uncomfortable, you need to set that boundary. Maybe tell her you're glad she finds comfort in it and that you love the time you spend together, but that level of affection is too much for you, like sleeping in the same bed. Understood you're separated, but any chance your wife can help you navigate it since she knows her as well as you do. It's definitely a tough one. "Honey, I love you but you are making me uncomfortable. I'm sorry if the divorce is hard on you and you are feeling insecure, but this is too much. I think people have been helpful here, but you might also consider offering more verbal affirmations. It would make sense to me if she was feeling insecure, like she might lose you, since mom did. Saying things like, I love you, you're safe, I'm always going to be here, and asking questions about how she's feeling and what her worries are, might reduce the feeling of worry and concern she might have as a result of the divorce. She's old enough to do some self-reflection and for you to support more thoughtful conversation about her feelings. I hope you look into getting her a professional to talk to. Not necessarily because anything is wrong with her, we all can benefit from unloading what's on our mind. I imagine she's confused by the separation, and this behavior could be a cry for a little attention and care to help with what she's going through. Good luck. You're already doing a great job by asking these questions. My younger sister had a similar thing in the past. If it's making you uncomfortable, it's good to outline that in an understanding way. But more importantly, if you start dating again and you have someone else treating you like this, which is what happened with my dad and sister, my sister started feeling very dejected, like she had been replaced. So it might be good to lay some boundaries before something like that happens, especially if it's already making you uncomfortable, as it really ruined my sister's mental state. What you're experiencing, someone very close to me experienced with a 15-year-old in a similar family breakup situation. It went on for a bit, but then the parent concerned started avoiding it in very gentle ways, e.g., release themselves from a cuddle to get something from the kitchen or bedroom, example, or avoid kisses by stepping away for something else or towards someone else pretending they didn't know the kiss from the child was coming, or leave the child in their bed and go sleep on the sofa or something and then make an excuse that the parent has lost the habit for the bed sharing with a child because it's been so long they slept there. The child needs to respect the parental space, so they got the hint and stuff turned back to normal. It was all subtle avoidance and it worked. I personally don't think she is overstepping anything. As a 25 male 6'6" guy, typically I hug my mom, peck her on the cheek as well. I usually don't cuddle much with her nowadays. The bed thing is a bit much for me, the rest I'd nonchalantly accept. I would organize for yourself to see a family counselor and speak to the counselor about it. Then have your counselor speak to her about it. There would be a lot of under the iceberg stuff going on. She may be so frightened of losing you and has no idea that these behaviors are inappropriate. I am suspecting that this isn't your blood-related daughter. I would advise make sure to confirm that who know if your ex-wife had an affair. Are you kidding me? You are a married woman. Your daughter is 19. Something isn't right. I understand if your daughter was still a young adolescent. I suggest a therapist. It should go without saying, smirk. It's your daughter, dude, check her. Slap TF out of her, lol. I'd say don't fret about it too much and just set some boundaries. Tell her she's too old to sleep in your bed, and other things, but remind her that you still love her. This is a fake post. I don't even know what to make of this sub anymore with how many bullshit posts there are, and I wonder how many of the commenters know they're giving advice on fake situations but just comment anyway. Fathers don't sleep in bed and cuddle with their adult children while they kiss them on the cheek. If they do, they're well aware it's weird. This is completely made up. The kisses on the cheek seem less concerning than sleeping in your bed and wanting to cuddle there. Try to assume that from her POV, this is all innocent and her way of reaching out for comfort. It's not normal, for sure. You need to start giving boundaries, but don't be surprised if she is hurt over that. I would suggest counseling. It's okay to set boundaries if you're uncomfortable. What do you mean cuddling though? Is your arm just around her, or is she like intimately cuddling with her leg draped over you? Maybe that's her way of comforting you through the separation, starting to sleep in your room so you don't sleep alone, always showing affection so you know she loves you dearly and also trying to make you feel better. Makes sense to me. She needs to be in therapy. It's not normal to be acting like a little kid at her age. My parents just divorced not long ago at 19. I've always been close to my dad. We became closer over the divorce. He's my best friend. We hug regularly, he kisses me on the forehead, squeezes my shoulder occasionally as he walks past, but I'd never cuddle with him at this age. It's not sexual, but I do associate it with romantic partners, and that's a boundary I've set for myself, and that is okay. You are allowed to have boundaries too. I'd get her into therapy, as it sounds like she is reverting to some childlike tendencies. I don't know why most people don't think this behavior is odd. She's 19, a young adult. Would you be okay to date someone who slept in the same bed with their dad, cuddles with their dad? It's weird ASL. I'm not sure I'd overly worry about hurting her feelings at this point. Don't be cruel but tell her your honest feelings. Also, I'd suggest therapy for both of you. You have the right to set boundaries with your daughter if her behavior is making you feel uncomfortable. I think she might need some counseling to cope with what is going on with you and her mother, because the getting in bed with you to sleep at night and accidentally kissing you on the lips and her response was inappropriate. In the meantime, you need to set some firm boundaries by locking your bedroom door at night and tell her that since she has her own room, you would appreciate if she slept in her own room. Be loving and kind as possible, but also firm with your boundaries. Physical affection is how your daughter experiences love and comfort. I get that this makes you feel uncomfortable now that she's a woman. To her, you're still her dad and a source of comfort and affection. Unless you're getting set up by your ex, I wouldn't deny your daughter the affection and comfort they're reaching out for in what's likely an emotionally difficult time. Bro, your little girl loves you. Fair enough, you find some things uncomfortable, but she obviously just wants her daddy. 19 or 4 years old, our little girls will always be our little girls. TBH, I feel bad for your daughter. Why do you feel uncomfortable? Because you're afraid of other people's opinions? Or just don't have the same bond she clearly thinks is there? So what if she wants to sleep in your bed? What do you think her intentions are exactly? My little girl is 5 and the day she doesn't want to cuddle or sleep in my bed, I know I'm gonna be devastated. Appreciate the fact she adores you, pal. Not everyone is as lucky. Say it with me: separation anxiety and divorce. Separation, divorce are hard for kids of all ages. She started sleeping in my bed at night instead of her own room. A lot of times trying to cuddle there as well. This is weird to me. As a dude, I don't think that I might have any insight as to what she's actually thinking, feeling, but I will put this thought out there. She might be acting this way because she's scared to lose you as well. Possibly either subconsciously or consciously, she's acting like she did as a child because she remembers how happy everyone was back then, and she's trying to bring that back. If we look at things in relation to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'd say she's trying to restore the love and belonging level. You should set boundaries as per your comfort level, but also understand that this sudden change is her desperate attempt at maintaining her connection with you, her father. She needs counseling. Please encourage and help her to find a good therapist who she can speak with about what she's going through. And to each their own. Per the comments, everyone has their own comfort level. M29F, but when my father is away on work trips, I sleep in my mother's bed and hold her hand while she sleeps so she isn't lonely. Family is family.